It's time for a different kind of Pixel foldable. Let me explain why. Nobody who's seen the new Pixel 9 Pro Fold can deny that Google's all in on foldables, but looking at the market as a whole, by far the more popular phones of this type have been clamshells. Your Samsung Flips or Motorola Razrs, or even, depending on where you live, your Huawei Pockets. And as Google's expanding its Pixel line with tablets, earbuds, and wearables in more sizes, it increasingly looks like it's missing a trick by not having a flippy communicator-style Pixel phone. I think that's about to change. And there are plenty of other reasons why I think we're ready to see a flip phone Pixel in the coming year. So let's jump in. I'm Alex Toby, this is XDA. Let's tackle the question of the elusive Google Pixel Flip. So the first reason Google should bring a Pixel Flip to market in 2025 is that it's about to overcome one long-standing technical hurdle in the next 12 months. Google should finally have a Tensor chip that is efficient enough to power a flip phone. So far, Google has been working closely with Samsung on the Tensor SoCs used in its Pixel phones, and that makes some sense. Samsung has a lot of experience there with its own Exynos chips used in some Galaxy S phones in some countries. By all accounts, the core components that make up a Google Tensor chip share a lot in common with Exynos, the modem, the CPU and GPU cores, while Google itself has focused on the design of the NPU and AI-specific hardware. The problem is Exynos has lagged behind the cutting edge of smartphone SoCs, and we've seen those limitations inherited by the first three generations of Google Tensor. The phones ran hotter than rivals that used Qualcomm Snapdragon chips, especially in certain areas like 5G networking. Many benchmarks were subpar too, especially in heavier use cases like gaming, and the same applied to battery life. Now, you can kinda get away with slightly less efficient chips in a flat phone and even in a larger form factor foldable like the Pixel Fold, but the extremely compact size of a flip phone means every inch and every watt of power counts more than ever, which is why not even Samsung has used Exynos in a foldable yet. It's always relied on Qualcomm. But if early reports are to be believed, Google is set to move away from its collab with Samsung in 2025 and instead ship a fully custom-designed Tensor G5 made in partnership with industry leader TSMC. And that could result in the most efficient Google Tensor ever, combining Google's technical know-how with TSMC's efficient manufacturing process, all of which would make 2025 a great time to put that new efficient chip into a Pixel Flip. Moving from hardware to software, one of the biggest challenges in developing a great flip phone is what you actually do with your cover screen. It's small, it's got a weird aspect ratio, it might even have a pair of cameras poking through it. And different brands have different solutions here. Samsung's is more about widgets and customization, Motorola leans more towards a standard Android experience with a launcher where you can just shoehorn any app onto that cover display. And others like Oppo are content with a more limited bespoke UI. Personally, I'm a fan of the Moto approach, but I can also appreciate what the likes of Samsung have been trying to do. But the only company that can really settle the flip phone UI argument is Google, as the Android platform holder. Google is uniquely qualified to figure out a way to force apps to play nice when parts of their UI are, for example, covered up by cameras, or the aspect ratio of the cover screen means the UI gets all scrunched up and you can barely see any actual content, like here in Google Maps. And what better way to do this than by releasing its own Pixel-branded flip phone hardware as a bold statement of intent that pushes the ecosystem forward. Motorola has given us a tantalizing look at how one of Google's most important new features, the new Google Gemini, could naturally fit onto a flip phone with the way that AI assistant is easily accessible directly from the Razr's cover screen. Of course, in other areas it'd be relatively simple for Google to port over some of its work from the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, things like the cute made you look camera trick for attracting kids' attention, or the dual panel translation feature that debuted back on the original Pixel Fold. So Pixel as a brand has come a long way since picking up the mantle of the Google Nexus series in 2016. It's changed a lot, going from this niche boutique phone for nerds that also served as a hardware platform to demo new Android versions, to now where the Pixel 9 series isn't even launching with Android 15 and the two seem more disconnected than ever. Pixel is now a fully mainstream smartphone brand, going after mainstream smartphone buyers. It's not defined by the Android operating system or the Google Silicon powering it, but by the features those two things working together can enable. Samsung's relentless marketing campaign for the Galaxy Z Flip line over the past year or so has shown the kind of foldable most people want is a flip and not a fold. There's greater familiarity with that flip phone form factor. It's easier to throw into a handbag or messenger bag, taking up less space, and flip foldables are cheaper too, with $1,000 being about the sweet spot versus at least $1,800 for something like the Z Fold 6 or Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Pixel is a long way removed from being the phone for phone nerds, and the foldable phone that most people want is of the flippy variety. And let's not forget that as much as the Pixel is competing with other Android brands, the real prize is peeling away iPhone users, especially in the US. And at a time when more American Gen Zers and Gen Alphas are locked into that Apple ecosystem, a form factor that's genuinely cool and different and interesting could help Google get in on the ground floor with the next generation of phone buyers. Google took its sweet time releasing the first Pixel Fold. I was hearing whispers about foldable Pixel hardware from sources being in the works as early as 2021, with that abandoned, apparently passport-shaped foldable having been originally planned to launch in spring 2022. Google waited as long as it did because foldables are hard. You've got all the technical challenges of building a smartphone with additional moving parts, space constraints, and components that are even more fragile than the innards of a flat phone. But foldables are maturing. It's been almost 5 years since the first Galaxy Z Flip, and in that time, both the people making the phones and the companies producing those components have learned a lot about making these devices more durable and long-lasting. We're long past the times when news of a new foldable would inevitably be accompanied by reports of it breaking in people's hands on day one. There's never been a less risky time to get in on the flip phone game, and Google could do so with the benefit of 3 generations, 2 released, 1 unreleased, of tablet-style Pixel foldables under its belt. And the final reason Google should make a Pixel Flip in 2025 is because we actually have specific reporting that's exactly what it might be planning to do. The meatiest information we have on a potential flip phone Pixel comes from Android Authority, which published a reported Pixel hardware roadmap more than 2 years ago, which it's since updated as devices have come to market. AA's information specifically points to 2025 as the potential launch window for a first-gen Pixel Flip, though noting this could depend on the market reception of earlier foldable Pixels. There are apparently 2 versions of the 2025 roadmap in contention, one with a Pixel Flip and another without. And while we don't have specific sales numbers for the first-gen Pixel Fold, the fact that its successor is already coming to market is probably a good sign that perhaps we're on course for the former, and a future where in just over 12 months' time a Pixel 10 Flip might just be breaking cover. And tantalizingly, in a statement given to Android Central in mid-2023, Google hinted that it hadn't hit its long-term price target for foldables yet. Well, we're more than a year on from that, and still the only foldable Pixel costs $1,800. And let's face it, these kinds of foldables aren't going to be getting any cheaper. A flip phone though, with its price point closer to that magic $1,000 mark, would seem to be one way for Google to reach those pricing targets, while also giving the Google Pixel a presence in every segment of the mobile market. Small phones, big phones, cheaper phones, wearables, earbuds, and perhaps both flavors of foldable. So what do you want to see from a Pixel Flip? What is it that only Google can bring to this form factor that's been lacking from the Samsung and Motorola competition? Share your thoughts and hopes for a smaller and perhaps more affordable Google Pixel foldable down in the comments, and stick around for more coverage and comparisons of the Pixel 9 series coming very soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.